Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday stream. How are we all? I trust we're all doing good. Right, so what are we doing? Oh yes, we were fixing this. So, there's a few missing pieces on CDEC, which I've now filled in. So we now actually have the probe room with walls all around, which is now fully accessible. And also the bit down the side here that requires a stairwell. So I'll probably cut that through this evening and start joining CDEC up with DDEC. Just made a new piece for here, so I just need to slot that in. Should be the right one. Not quite sure why they're over there. It's a good question though. Why are they over there? I see. I seem to have added them to the wrong group. Yeah, so I need to finish DDEC, really, although kind of in combination with CDEC, because there's a few things which need to line up. So there's a stairwell here, and although I've kind of blocked it in roughly where it's going to go on DDEC, I'm still not 100% sure that it's going to go there. So I just need to experiment with that a little bit. And then once the DDEC layout itself is pretty well defined, then EDEC is mostly a copy paste of that. So you know, it's either a copy paste or the 2-deck tall rooms anyway. I've actually got ice water this evening. Although that said, on my desk, in my little cubby hole, I do have a selection of different whiskies. I've got pretty bog standard Famous Grouse. I've got not quite so standard Pig's Nose blended Scotch whiskey, which is quite nice. I've got Manly Australian single malt whiskey, which is a Coastal Stone Nor'easter. If I remember rightly, that was really smoky and not very nice. And I've got my standard Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, which I really like. I'm not actually an alcoholic. I joined up to a whiskey tasting thing, so I've got lots of little tiny bottles of like taster samples. My daughter's always calling me an alcoholic, and I keep having to point out to her I'm not an alcoholic because they're still there. Pig's nose is actually really nice. It's what it says on it. It says soft and smooth as a pig's nose. I've never felt a pig's nose, so I'll have to take their word for it on that. But it is indeed very smooth. Sadly, no Captain Morgans. I've never been a fan of gin. I've tried it a few times, but it's just not a flavour I enjoy. Generally speaking, I don't really drink. It's just every now and then I just usually crave a bit of mead. Yeah, we're fortunate here that that where we live next to the village of Dunster, and they've got lots of National Trust stuff. So they've got a few little shops that sell different meads. I think they've got 6 or 7 different meads that they sell. So I can literally just walk over the road to a medieval village and buy mead, which is kind of cool. Yeah, for my birthday last year, I actually got a mead making kit, but I haven't actually got around to using it yet. I do plan to. It's really easy. It's like literally water, yeast, and honey. That's it. Thank you, Atlantic. It's definitely getting there. Yeah, the VIP lounge stairs haven't actually been hooked up to the electric yet. I've been kind of waiting on those because I'm going to do it slightly differently for them. I might make the stair lights individual light actors, so that you can like shoot them out individually in the future, rather than them being attached to the whole staircase. Hi Chevifier. Today, well, the main plan really is to start extending C deck down into D deck. I want to start getting rid of this rough template and replacing it with a finished version, and then start joining up things like maybe some of these side stairwells, but definitely the aft stairwell here to the side of the probe room. So that needs just needs cutting through here. In fact, if you bring up the template, it needs cutting through exactly there. Something I noticed as I was piecing all this together earlier is that where I've made this curved section here, that has continued through over here because I've just been duplicating the object. You can probably hear the bird, who has done nothing but eat today. Although we did let her out and let her have a fly around the garden, and she was kind of intermingling with the other sparrows, which was nice. She's definitely not scared of the other sparrows in the garden. So in about a week, hopefully, we'll be in a position where she'll want to spend more time with them than us. Although she has imprinted on us quite strongly. Yeah, you'll probably hear tweeting and twerping quite a lot during the stream. My desk is really the only place that will fit her cage at the moment. For anyone that missed last week, we had a little baby sparrow fall out of its nest, literally 2 stories from the guttering all the way into concrete. Knocked itself out. We thought it was dead. And it was cold and it was wet, and there was no way we were getting it back into the nest, like under our eaves. So we thought we'd take care of it and feed it. And that was over a week ago, and she's now doing very strong, and she's taken her first flight. She now flies around the garden, sits in the hedge with the other sparrows, but is still very much imprinted on us, so we're trying to leave her in the nest during the day with all the other sparrows. In the cage rather, so that she sort of hangs out with other sparrows all day. All of this is textured using tiling materials. So what I do is I export the base geometry into Unreal, and then it just uses tiling materials on the textures. So this is just a single texture across the whole object. The nice thing about doing it tiled is that you can have like super high resolution textures, without using a large file size. I think this one's a 4K texture, but because it's tiled, obviously you can make it really high res. Oh, we've got some news on the dev shed actually. We had some builders in about a week ago to give us a quote on putting down a concrete base. And they came, they measured, they went away, and we've heard nothing from them since. So we had another builder come in 2 days ago, and he has also measured up, so we shall see whether we get a quote from that one or not. We've not had much luck with tradesmen over the past few weeks. It's a really simple job as well. All we need is a concrete base and a soakaway. That's it. Because I definitely want a small sink in the dev shed so that I can make tea. Yeah, we're down in Somerset, so Cheshire's a bit far up. I see what I've done. So this piece and this piece are the same component. So obviously as I edit one, it also edits the other one, like that. Needs to be unique. Yeah, we've had a similar problem with plumbers as well, because, oh god, a while ago now, our floor started going in our bathroom, and it turns out our joist is rotten through, like literally crumbling in your fingertips type rotten. So we got some builders in to have a look, and they quoted us, I think it was like £7,000 to like fix and redo the whole bathroom. And then we said, well, that's just mental for the small amount of work we needed doing. And then they came back with an even higher price. So we said, well, you know, can you justify why the price is so high? And then silence. Haven't heard from them since. So then we called in another builder, or a plumbing firm rather, and they've been getting on with it over the past week. But the job that was supposed to take 1 week is now taking 2. So yeah, we are also struggling with contractors. I just want to get into my dev shed. Yeah, that's exactly what we assumed. You know, it's not a job they fancy taking on, so they just quoted us a ridiculous price. It would have been easier just to say, I'm sorry, we're busy, we can't do it, than to give us a high price and then ignore our emails. But what can you do? Well, fortunately, my dad was a plumber, and Claire's dad was like a handyman. So between the two of us, we kind of know the tricks. Neither of them are around anymore, otherwise we'd get them to do it. Yeah, we'd be fine if it were just running some network cable. I actually used to be a network engineer, so I'm alright with that. Have a good one, Peter. See you later. That's a good question. We probably could do a mass estimate. I mean, it's going to be in the ballpark of an aircraft carrier. It's kind of a similar size. I think the only difference is the metalwork is a lot thicker, but we are making it out of titanium and not steel. So, yeah, given the material properties, and it's not pure titanium, it's titanium laced with gold. Not quite Ti3AU, which is that kind of new super hard wonder material, but something similar. Yeah, not all of it's this tedious, but some of it definitely is. Like SketchUp wants to play ball with that today. Fine. What on earth is it doing? If you look up Ti3AU, it's a similar material to that. I don't know precisely what we're calling it yet, but something similar. With Ti3AU, I don't know whether that's 1 titanium and 3 parts gold, or 3 parts titanium and 1 part gold. I suppose if it's Ti3AU, it's probably 3 parts gold, isn't it? There was an article on it. I think it was like for dentistry. Yeah, and it's like a super hard material, which is like the hardest metal known, or the hardest alloy discovered to date. I'm not sure how well it holds up to things like bending and that sort of thing. Is it really brittle? Is it just going to shatter? But they were talking about using it for things like dental implants and like bone implants and things, because it's such a hard metal, it's not going to wear away. Yeah, a lot of the geometry you see here, some of it will be visible and some of it won't be. Like, this is actually the outer skin of the ship. And obviously this is the internal framework, which, you know, when you're looking up through the grating, you will actually see it. But yeah, obviously these inside faces here you won't see. But with Nanite it doesn't matter, because all the geometry is virtualized with Unreal. So you can literally have one polygon per pixel, and it's fine. Let's have a look at that. That sounds about right, Gabrielle, yeah. I remember reading it in a dentistry thing. It was just something that randomly popped up on my stream, and I thought, ooh, interesting new super alloy. That sounds right up my street. Hi Mike, glad you're enjoying it, and thanks for hopping onto the stream. So this should fix this piece here. Yeah, it's very much not designed for atmospheric flight. You can do a graceful plunge into the atmosphere. Right, that's better. Ah yes, do not neglect your significant other. Never a good idea. For one, you'll never hear the end of it. That's going to take some fixing there. I'll ignore that for now. Right then, so let's start cutting some holes. Get rid of that. This is where the stairwell needs to go. And get rid of that. Okay, so it's going to span 2 framework sheets. A little troublesome, but not the end of the world. Those stats are ever so slightly different now. Well, actually quite a bit different. So because the ship is now stretched out, it's a lot longer than it is wide. So it's pretty much 300 meters long, 150 wide, and the same tall. Hang on, as soon as it stops lagging, I'll give it a measure. So, bearing in mind, there's going to be a bit of hull plating on top as well. It's going to make it ever so slightly longer. So lengthwise, yeah, you're looking at exactly 300 meters currently. But the engine pods at the back are by no means finalized, so they may or may not protrude beyond the back of the ship. So it's going to be at least 300 meters, maybe something like 300 meters and 50 centimeters or something like that. And then widthwise, it should be 150. Okay, 145 plus machinery, so about 150. Which I believe takes it into the territory of Voyager. I think Voyager was about 300 meters, and the Enterprise A was also about 300 meters when you include the nacelles. Obviously, it's also 150 tall as well because you've got the ring round it. I can tell you exactly because we've got templates for everything. Let me do one of the straight ones so we're not even better idea. Why don't we copy one over there? So the inside, like wall to wall, is 310 centimeters, and then you've got 40 centimeters for the actual walls themselves. The internal cavity is 35 centimeters, which means that the actual metalwork itself is 2.5 centimeters, which is approximately 1 inch. So it's like 1 inch thick titanium. And the space between decks used to be 2.5 meters, and it should now be 300 and something. From there to there is 337, so 340 that would be, well, to include the sheet metal on top. The cavity between decks is 100 centimeters, so 1 meter exactly. Why are you not extruding down? Do it the long way. So what piece are you? D-deck ring 4. Aft position 2. So ring 4 framework D-deck. Position 2 sheet. Copy the name of that. Don't get it confused later on. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, essentially, you know, we're approaching this in the sense that cost isn't a factor. So if you remove cost from the equation, you know, what is the best material to use for the ship's construction, sort of metallurgy-wise? So I guess technically it needs to be very hard and a bit bendy. That's of course the technical description. Very hard and a bit bendy. Now the glass is an interesting one. We're going with a sort of layered carbon nanotube sheets. So it's like a carbon nanotube sandwich. Or graphene, I suppose would be the better way of calling it. Like graphene sheets. The idea is that the hull of the ship is stronger. Sorry, the windows of the ship are stronger than the hull of the ship. But because they're made of such a crazy strong material, you can't work with it. So it may be good for windows, but it's terrible as a construction material because you can't weld it, you can't drill through it. It's just not practical. What the hell, SketchUp? So why is SketchUp messing with this geometry? That is the question. Do we have some weird stray vertices somewhere? Nope, wasn't that. Right, plan B. So if I just delete that. Okay. Then get rid of that. Copy that over there. Flip it. There we go, problem solved. So ring 4, position 3. Okay. That one. Do this one again with the curvy edges. Did I not export it? Right, okay, so here's our nice clean stairwell hole. That needs to connect up with the geometry underneath. So the idea is you'll come down here, and here's your nice stairwell. Oh, that's good to know, Mike. Yeah, I think once once everything's a little bit more together, and we've got more of the simulation running and more of the ship built out, and we start looking at the operational day-to-day stuff, it'll be interesting to know from people that have experience working on large vessels. Is life aboard ship in any way similar to what we're simulating here? Obviously, we don't want it to be exactly like working on an aircraft carrier. It has to have that sci-fi spacey element to it, but it'd be good if it was in the ballpark. Well, by default, the UN ships will have fusion reactors, but there'll be a lot of different power generation methods within the game. And yes, eventually you will be able to use alien tech on your ship, both for power generation and FTL and weapons and anything else. Ugh, that's very yellow. Okay, so now we need some E-deck sheet metal. So what do we have prepared? not a lot. Yeah, I think it's fair to say alien tech will use different materials. I mean, we're only using helium and deuterium because that's what's used for the power generation on the fusion. I think fundamentally the whole concept of fusion is pretty core in terms of, or basic rather, in terms of the galaxy as a whole, because all we're doing is simulating what happens inside a star. So that's kind of nature's natural energy source. You know, when it comes to things like 0-point energy, you know, perhaps there's somewhere we can go with that, with alien tech and exotic materials and that sort of thing. Yeah, and coming up with the names and the characteristics of new materials will be, you know, it's an exercise we're going to have to go through at some point. Yeah, the sublight engines they're Vasmir rockets essentially, or fusion rockets. Yeah, if you you know, if you want to make suggestions and things, then definitely recommend getting on our Discord server. You know, we chat about all this sorts of stuff all the time. Will you be able to use ad hoc solutions for things like rigging a probe with an EMP bomb? Yeah, I mean, at some point, you know, once all that stuff's implemented at its basic level, then we'll start to iterate on that and see what else we can do with it. You know, ultimately, we want to focus on player ingenuity more than just, you know, stats and statistics, which is why we're going down the simulation route. So, you know, the power of your shields and the power of your weapons will be, you know, generally on par with your opponent. You know, upgrades will be small upgrades. They're not going to be huge upgrades every time you upgrade something, and those upgrades are simply going to be the fact you found a better material that performs either more efficiently or is stronger or that sort of thing. So it's really down to, you know, player ingenuity and smarts, you know, all across the board really. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to make a 3D version of the template, and we'll export that for a minute just so we know what we're doing. So if we copy this over here, .20,000 units. What I will do is explode those so that they're a group. Yep. Right. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to use this for some basic blocking out, and I'll cut a couple of simple holes for doors. Don't really need the internal rooms. Instant deck. Actually, I'm quite looking forward to seeing this front section in 3D properly to get a real feel for the size of the space. But like with most things in the game, the general design and shape of the ship has been an iterative process. it's evolved, because originally it was practically a flying saucer, and then it was more of a teardrop shaped flying saucer, and then we've kind of, through necessity really, kind of come about this shape, because the FTL rings, I just couldn't find a nice way of integrating the ring, or the FTL hardware generally, into the design of the ship. So wanting to stay true to the scientific principles of an Alcubierre drive, really it needed to have a ring. So putting the ring on it on a practically circular ship just looks stupid. So the ship really needed to be elongated to make the ring make more sense kind of visually. So naturally, by stretching the ship out a bit, we've kind of landed on the design we've got here. Yeah, the Alcubierre drive, NASA did like a mock-up picture of an Alcubierre driven ship. I did know the registry number for it. I've forgotten now. Is it the IXS? Something like that? Can't remember. But yes, it was NASA Eagleworks, I think, that kind of refined the Alcubierre design. And then Dr. Eric Lentz refined it even further, removing the need for a negative mass as part of the equation. So on paper, we have essentially a warp drive that doesn't require negative mass, which is really good. Yeah, there you go. My memory served me well. Yeah, this is an overhaul of our first ship. So it's still the Magellan class, but this is a much more updated version of it. just have to bear with me a minute. I apologise for the tedium with what I'm doing. I just need to get rid of all these little joiny lines, which I can't do automatically, because if I do, it will get rid of all the separations between the colours. Then we won't know what's what then. Let's explode all the cards. I'm not too bothered about the internal rooms, I just wanted to get the outer walls up so that I can wander around it and have a look. Almost there. Actually, this is a good opportunity to judge how wide this bit needs to be, because I'm still not quite sure how far across to take this wall. So I should be able to kind of visualize that a bit better, all in 3D. Moaned about it before, but I will moan about it again. I really don't like all the icons being the same colour now on SketchUp. They never used to be. They used to be all different colours, which much easier to pinpoint the one you wanted. Yeah, you're not wrong, there's still a lot to do, but every day we make progress on it, and I think that's what matters. It's kind of my overall philosophy with this is the whole no 0 days philosophy. As long as you do something every day, or make some bit of progress every day, then completing it is inevitable. we should use 301X, which is the SpaceX stainless steel. Right, so if we turn off our DDEC template, that's still tagged. Oh yeah, it is. Untag that. That. Something's still tagged. Anasi, yes, very much so. Yeah, one of my objectives was to get literally every room, at the very least, blocked out. Obviously, I'm not going to have time to build wall panels and put flooring down and do proper lighting and run all the electrical cables and all of that. But at the very least, I want them to be blocked out so that you can at least get a feel for the size of the rooms and the size of the ship and all that sort of thing. So if we export this then we'll stick it in miscellaneous. Yes. Do I have a test folder? I do have a test folder. And we should do it Gallon D test layout. So right now there's not a lot in the way of anything around the central column. So if we have any test things here, we do. So we need there. Yeah, I might have Steve just wandering around. Once we've got a nav mesh set up for it, he could just wander the halls. do this under DDEC framework rules. Okay, we have some interior. This huge space here, this is going to be the park at the front of the ship. Which means this is going to be like the mall area. So need a hole cutting through it. So yeah, so all of this is going to be the park at the front, which is going to be quite big really overall. Turn off that one and that one. It's kind of the layout of DDEC. Everything behind here, this is all engineering spaces, so this is where all the engineering corridors will be. See, the RCS hardware will be there with engineering access. Then we need some way of getting down through there. Yeah, talking of Z fighting, oh my god. So actually, are we putting corridors in the right place here? You know what? I don't think we are. Because that should be a corridor. I kind of see it as if you're getting Z fighting that badly, at least you know everything's lined up properly. Like, I know that those objects are exactly aligned on the same plane. So it's a sign of success. Yeah, the FTL coils are individual modules, so the idea is that you'll have to fly a little repair thing up and service them with like a little JCB thing. So something I'm doing is trying to optimize view distances as well. So one of the reasons we can't have, say, an entrance here that goes all the way down to here is because we can't really have view distances going that far. It's not too bad at the back there because you've got the wall, but at the front, if we were to have a mirror of that, then from here you'd be able to see all the way to the front of the park and all the meshes that get loaded along the way. So we need to sort of artificially block visibility by just putting the corridors in such a place where you can never see too far. So they can go, because they're being remade anyway, as can these ones. To be honest, I need to re-export that framework from SketchUp the right way round. So may as well just get rid of them for now. So we can see what we're doing. You can go. Which one's the stairwell? Stairwell one can stay. That's how I spell it right. Yeah, that's a good explanation. I like that. Oh look, the ship's got weapons now. So changes I need to make here, so I just need to come across there. And same there. So this should be a standard width door, which I shall borrow. certainly not 185. That was 120. Assume a height of 200. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then this should be the control room for the shuttle bay. Yeah, the lasers will have a, I don't know actually, sort of a deeper sound, and it's going to be muffled as well because it's on the outside of the hull. I want anything outside of the ship to kind of like a muffled sound, like it's like the noise you're hearing is just reverberating through the hull. Yeah, basically. I'm just going to cut some really kind of bad windows. There. 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 There will definitely be sound outside the ship, but it will always be kind of muffled and subdued. Yeah, we'll have fighters. The second expansion's ship is going to be a carrier class vessel, so that's going to have something in the way of fighters. I haven't decided exactly what yet, but there will definitely be, you know, small weapons capable craft. Right, so there's your shuttle control room. So we need doors here. I'll make these ones bigger, I think. Actually, just make them archways. Above it, so this is D deck. So, you know, on that note, all that needs to go away because that's the upper section of the shuttle bay. Probably going to have some kind of walkway going down it as well. See where we tie that into here somewhere. I will duplicate this down actually. Let's get the right height for it. So the floor level should be exactly 100 from there. Really, these walls need to be tall. Yeah, so that's essentially a shuttle bay there. I'm really not a fan of asymmetry, and I need to get over it and suck it up and do some asymmetry, because you're right, it makes for much more interesting designs when things are asymmetrical, but I really struggle with it. That's why I've got like a completely symmetrical design here. Thought actually we need our walkways. So I'm going to make them the same width as a corridor, and essentially this is going to be a balcony all the way down. Which means that all of that is deleted. Oh, I couldn't do it, it would drive me mad. Yeah, you'll have to fly shuttles manually. The idea is that when you hit a certain altitude above the planet's surface, there'll be a brief transition whilst the planet itself loads, which is kind of unavoidable with the way we're doing space. But then from that point, once the surface is loaded, you'll have control again above the surface, and you can just fly around and look for somewhere to land. So release is essentially, when it's ready, which I know is a stereotypical thing to say, but hazard a guess, it's probably going to be towards the end of 2025 for early access at the rate we're going currently. Obviously that could speed up dramatically once we have more people on board, but we shall have to see. Though something that's worth pointing out is that technically it's released already, because we have people playing the dev builds, and the public demo will be updated regularly. So that's practically release. Going into early access, it's just a line in the sand. It's not really significant with the way we're building the game. Yeah, the DLCs are, or at least the story campaigns, are supposed to be chronologically one after another. So the story will continue as you go from DLC to DLC. At least for the three-part story arc we have planned. Claire just came and swore at me. Lucky I muted it. Once again, I had the car key in my pocket. Yes, the ship has energy shields. That's alright, I'm always stealing the car keys. Should do nicely. Something tells me this probably will end up needing to be wider, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, we do have a lot of space in these side rooms, so we can probably make that a good couple of meters, if not more, wider. Yeah, well, I tend to get out of the car, put the key in my pocket, and then go about my business. And then later on in the day, Claire will be pulling her hair out trying to find the keys. She should just assume I have them. That would solve the problem. Getting another set of keys is a pain. It's we've got a Renault Grand Scenic, and it's got one of those key card things. So you can't just get another key cut. It has to be another card, and it has to be coded to the car. It was second hand, so we only have got one set of keys with it. Oh yeah, well spotted. Well, the hilarious thing with the keycard is the keycard is no longer recognised by the card reader unless you squeeze it from behind. I think something's become dislodged. So the top part of our dash is no longer connected because we have to put our hand behind the dash, squeeze the card reader, and then press the start button, and the car will start. We used to get away with jamming a knife into the hole, but that stopped working. And apparently that's normal, because when we took the car to the garage to get a new tyre, we told the guy, this is odd, and Claire was standing there with a butter knife in her hand. It's like, you have to jam a knife into the dashboard to start the car. And he's like, oh yeah, I know what that is. It's like, oh, that's normal, is it? It's funny you should say that about nicking the car, because when it first started doing it, I was in a Tesco's car park, and I could not get the car started, and I couldn't work out what was going on with it. So I'd YouTubed how to start it, and one of the things was suggesting jam a knife into the slot. So I went back into Tesco and actually bought a knife, just like a pack of butter knives. And I'm there, like, wiggling this knife into the dashboard, trying to start the car. And then, like, a police car just pulls up and parks, like, 4 or 5 spaces away. And I'm just like, don't make eye contact. And fortunately, they completely ignored me. They must have thought I was just some lunatic. That was probably it, yeah. I was probably so inept that you thought you couldn't possibly be a car thief. Yeah, if squeezing the card reader no longer works, then essentially the car won't start anymore. So, but we're going to get rid of it at some point. It's, I think it's like 12, 13 years old now. It's been around the clock twice, so it's worth getting another one. Ooh, I missed all. Yeah, well, apparently jamming a knife into your Grand Scenic is a perfectly normal thing to do. Who knew? It obviously fails that often that it's just like, yeah, that's the known solution for it. Right, where do we need some more doors? So those ones and those ones and those ones. So we've got this area here, which will have some form of room associated with it. So I guess we'll just draw a door. So I have a rough idea with what these rooms are going to be. Downstairs, it's going to be mostly the internal security. So the brig will be in one of these sections underneath. So probably all of that area will be taken up by brigs. And then on this side we'll probably have a firing range of some kind. Maybe just down that length there, like a little shooting range. And then maybe some security officers over here. We have maintenance tunnels, and they are lower head height, but not to the point where you have to crouch. And for the very simple reason is that we want them to be easily navigable by NPCs. And if you're forced to crouch and they're really, really tightly spaced, then it's just inevitable that NPCs are going to get stuck. Plus, if you've got space to have a walkway where you can actually stand up, it's much kinder on the crew's back. You are correct, this is indeed SketchUp. Yeah, we've got the same thing with ladders. Having to get to certain areas via a ladder is going to become troublesome if we're expecting NPCs to get there reliably. But there's another argument to be made with that, in that if you're carrying a lot of tools and components and things, you don't want to be lugging that up ladders, so staircases make a lot more sense. I'm going to get rid of these floors because technically these are all high bays from below. As will those be, because they're the weapons rooms. I think this can be made unique now. Oh, I just exported the wrong one. Given that this is the main entrance into the park, I guess we need some really sort of ornate windows there. In terms of actual functionality and performing some kind of gameplay purpose, the next room to be worked on is going to be the drone facility, or the probe bay, at the back of C-Deck. So you'll be able to send down probes to the surface of planets, and they'll come back with a physicalized sample of some kind, which could be a plant, it could be a container of water containing some kind of specimen, and those things will then be taken to the science labs for research purposes. They're different. So this is a mock-up I did of one of the drones. So it's modelled on Dream Chaser, like a really tiny version of it. Yeah. So the idea with this is it will have like a little trunk that you can open, and then inside will be whatever sample it's gone and retrieved. So it's atmosphere capable, and it will come back and land on the ship. So actually, if we turn on the C-Deck a moment. So at the back of C-Deck, you've got this area here. And we need that for the floor. So inside here, this is the drone facility. You're going to have storage racks for the drones themselves, a repair bay on one side and a manufacturing, basically giant 3D printer on the other for making more of them. And you've got the airlock, which will be here. And out here is a launch and landing pad. You can probably have room enough for two pads. So once the call from the bridge comes down that a probe needs to be launched, whoever's manning this room will initiate the launch to the coordinates that have been sent by the bridge. The drone will go into the airlock, go through the airlock cycle, trundle out onto one of its launching pads, and then shoot off into space. And then that will then fly down to the planet's surface, and that won't happen in real time. Otherwise, the ship's going to have to sit there for a long time waiting for it. So kind of once it's out of visual range, essentially at that point, it'll just disappear and pretend it's on the planet's surface. And then after, say, 10 minutes, it will come back with a sample. And it will just come down and it will land here. And then someone inside will initiate the retrieval process, which means it will come into the airlock will cycle, and then it will stay in the airlock. And then the unloading of the probe will take place in the airlock once it's cycled, because it will go through and sort of disinfect the outside of it and all that sorts of stuff. And then that will either park up in one of its bays, or you can just turn it around and send it out again. But that'll be the primary method of getting samples from planetary surfaces before we go down the road of having planetary landings proper. Yeah, it's not just bulkier, it's a lot longer. Okay, that's better. To be honest, I might go ahead and move the brig, once we've got the room for it blocked in. Right, so if we also import the C deck, or the E deck version rather. Now the space for it's there, but we haven't built the desk yet. I'm avoiding spending too much time working on detail at the moment. I want to get the whole thing blocked out as much as possible first. Is it auto-saving or has it crashed? It was auto-saving. So that's Shuttle Bay. So underneath the control room up here, this is going to be like an onboarding desk sort of thing. So there'll be when you come off of your shuttle, you'll go through an airlock into here, and you'll be handed your crew assignments and that sort of thing. Just double up those floors to make them double-sided, so we're not making them see-through. Yeah, Space HR, exactly. And that's what one of these rooms is going to be. Probably on the upstairs section. It's like an HR office. And also, we've got these big areas here, and we still need to include things like laundry and clothing facilities and that sort of thing. So these are the ideal spaces to take care of that. Layout wise, you've got habitation in the middle, so these are all the crew quarters. You've got facilities at the back, so again, that's things like HR, the security, the laundry services, so 3D printers for just utensils. All that stuff will take place at the back. Now at the front, you've got sort of the town centre area, where you've got the park at the front, you've got the hospital, the hydroponics, cinema's going to be here, bar's going to be here, it's going to have a bowling alley alongside it, and then all this space here is going to be the main crew mess. So the ship's very much sort of split into different areas. So you've got kind of residential, like commercial, I guess, or entertainment, and then like facilities at the back. Yeah, console support shouldn't be too difficult. It depends on the control mappings, really. If we can get it running nicely with a control pad, and everything's accessible and doable cleanly on a control pad, then yes, there's no reason why not to go to console. But then it's about having the dev kit, making sure you compile for the right console format, and all that stuff's a job for the future. And we're not going to be looking at any other platforms until early access is done on the PC. Once we've got early access under our belts, then we can start looking at other platforms. Yeah, well, the VR test build is going to be going out once this build here is polished and released publicly. So the same version of the game will be used for the VR test. And the VR test is just going to be a case of probably just teleport locomotion and maybe arm swing locomotion, and the ability to just press buttons with your fingers, so you can interact with all the UI screens just by tapping at them. And that alone should be enough to give you a taste of what VR is going to be like. Obviously, it needs some rigorous performance improvements as well. But before I have a go at walking around this, let's just make a floor underneath there. Yes, you will. Probably like point and poke. So like 2 fingers at a time rather than like properly with your fingers. Arm swing locomotion is where you literally swing your arms to your sides, and it calculates the distance between the controllers when you're swinging your arms, and it translates that into movement. It's actually a really natural way of moving within VR, because it fools the brain into thinking you're walking. Claire marches up and down on the spot while she's doing it as well. It really helps with motion sickness. This room here is going to be the gym, and I think what I might do, given the height that we have, is maybe have like a half basketball court at one end, and then maybe 2 stories here with a gym area with some gym equipment and then like showers and things. It's going to be fun kind of trying to make the best use of this space. It's very rare that I will frequent a gym, so I'm not particularly up to speed on what they are expected to have. Yeah, we will have multiple forms of movement in VR. Yeah, we will have ground vehicles, so anything that's within reason. The main limitation with ground vehicles is they're going to have to fit inside a shuttle cargo area at the back, so they can't really be huge. Yeah, golf buggies are definitely the more likely solution. I mean, looking at the shuttle bay, obviously that's way too small to be a shuttle, but yeah, if you had a shuttle like that big, with a large cargo area big enough to fit a vehicle in, you're not going to get very many of them in the shuttle bay. I should maybe be able to do a cleanup on this without it butchering the geometry too much. Let's just sort that. That was the right grouping. No, it wasn't. Let's try that again. So good. Of course, for this being E-deck, it means these are not needed. Actually, being E-deck, none of this is needed. Or is it? Yeah, so on D deck, there's going to be a stairwell here, which I'll draw in actually. So if we say about, let's give it 300 from there, about there. Maybe something like that. So essentially you've got stairs from C deck coming down either side. And they kind of have to be there because of the geometry of C deck. But we also need a staircase that kind of bridges the gap between D and E decks. It would be nice to have something... Oh, actually. No, this isn't remaking the stairs, this is adding new ones. An idea has occurred. Take you in the middle. Drag that across there. Stick them on this one. Yeah, the ship's got stairs all over. cargo elevator is here, basically, at the back of the shuttle bay, and that's going down into the cargo holds, which are underneath the ship. So what we kind of want from this is really interesting if they were kind of curved for the shared landing. Yeah, because then we'd have the stairs coming down around there. Because it makes it kind of almost like a grand staircase. Yeah, this is where anyone boarding the ship via shuttle, this is the first thing they'll see. So they'll get through the kind of like boarding lounge, which will be this bit. And the very next thing they see will be like a grand staircase here. Thank you, Theatrap. I appreciate you watching. Just wondering actually whether it wouldn't be better going the other way around. Yeah, I think I prefer that. So if I continue that corridor around, then we can have doors either side. We have a grand staircase coming up, and then have the stairs going the other way up to C deck. That would go to there. Would go to about there. Yeah, and then the same down here. We'll have the wall come all the way around behind it, with entrances going out. In fact, I'll probably square that off and use that as a ornate entrance. So, now that that has been smoothed, then they should. Oops, no, don't want to delete the floor. They should be able to select the whole thing. That. Actually, I'll do them separately. And then bring that up. 2.5, that one up by 2.5. That gives us our 1 inch thick floor steelwork. Look, we're missing some wool. need these people dotted about. Ones would be on the underside here. So this one room will service the weapons both above and below the hull. So it'll be a double height room with like gantries and things, so you can access both bits of weapons hardware, and they'll have all the capacitor banks and things in there as well. It's the basic bit of that done. So I better make a hole for the shuttle bay entrance. So yeah, let's give it 250. Yeah, that. And the same this side. So that's going to be airlocks and things there. And we'll have probably alcoves all the way down for parking. Okay, so I think that's E-deck done. Nope, let's put it from here. Yep, that's much cleaner. Actually, this doesn't feel too bad size-wise. That might be alright. Oh, I've forgotten it needs stairs. Fortunately, here's some I prepared earlier. Done that the wrong way around. Yeah, so I suppose I need a way across as well, don't I? And I'll make it just kind of standard corridor width for now. You can tweak as necessary. the idea here is we'll have a seating area in the middle, and there'll be a big window on top there as well. Should look really, really cool once it's all kind of properly done and detailed. Let's just do the tidying up on this one. Should give us some solid floors now. I have a second hard drive that everything gets copied across to, and I've also got a GitLab instance where everything gets merged. I also use GitLab to transfer the project between my PC and my laptop. Speaking of which, I will save this. Because as much as it auto-saves, you can never quite rely on it. Why is it trying to send it into height maps? Whoop. To be honest, wearing it on a USB is not a bad idea. Yeah. I do the same when I'm copy pasting. I don't just Control C. I like Control C, 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 just to make sure it's copied it. Because you know that if you just do one Control C, it won't have copied it. Oh, that's another one. Yep, trying to get into the BIOS. Whether it's delete or F10 or F2, just spam it until it comes up. Going on there. I'll fix that at some point. Right then. So we should have our stairs, our walkway. Good. So I suppose the oh yeah, so I need a hole for the stairs through there, won't I? So what I'm doing here, I'm just making a couple of cutting tools. So I can cut a hole out for the stairs. So I'll just drag that one up. And then this one. Drop that down. That should have given us our full hole. Perfect. And the same with this one as well. Yeah, it can definitely be a pain if left unmanaged. Although this is like shadow fighting. Well, that actually does clear up if I restart the engine. It's just like a weird issue that happens. I just noticed another thing I have to fix. Oh, that. Although that said, this one actually does need a solid floor. And I'll leave it metal so that we can see where it is. And then re-import again. Right, that's better. Now we've got stair access. Oh. Hello, Steve. I think now we've got these ones in. I should just remove old geometry. So if we hide the deck, to get rid of the top piece there, and that, and that, and that. Get rid of all of these layers. Should just be the bit we are interested in. Let's see how this feels to run around. Yes, Mike. The long-term plan is it will actually have like a proper academy where the tutorial missions will be kind of rolled up into like an academy experience. So they'll kind of be like, you know, content in their own right. So rather hilariously, I think I have walls here where I don't want them to be. So we need E-deck interior walls. Yes. The way is blocked. So this is a side effect of having rotated the stairs around a bit, because we've got the big stairs at either side now. It had another staircase like there next to it, which made no sense. So they've been rotated around 45 degrees, but the walls don't know that. So they just need tidying up a little bit. These will need to be remade. Yeah, they just need popping back into new positions. That's E deck. Now I just need to do the same on D deck. Now these alcoves here will still be stairs. The ship's going to have quite a lot of stairs. So you've got obviously those stairs there. Then you've got these 4 sets of stairs here, and the stairs at the side, and also the stairwell at the back. So there's stairs all over the place. All in the name of easy crew access. Okay, I think that's all of them. Right, let's try that again. Yeah, well, something I've done with the new layout on C-Deck is there are bulkheads on the curved corridors as well as the straight corridors. So you've literally got bulkheads all over the place. On C-Deck here, you see you've got a bulkhead there. It's going to be a bulkhead here. And there. 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 Another one here. And there. And there. And there. So essentially you've got bulkheads all over the place. Hi Simon. Today I've been building out the blocking in for D-Deck and E-Deck. So if I run around here, you see that all this is now the blocking in. So we've got the stairwell there, so I'm on the side bit, which means this should take us, must be the main ring there, which means around here. That's the weapons room there, and this is the outer skin of the ship here, and then this takes us down into the upper section of the park. This is the park here. This is our mall area. I think that's more than big enough actually for a mall area. And then we've got, more specifically on this side, this is the main crew mess in here. It's quite a big space. I actually did make the torch brighter. What I can do is I can make the beam wider. Let's try that now a sec. So if I change the outer cone angle to literally 90 degrees, I suppose we'll double that as well. Maybe that 80 actually, so it's not quite so harsh. Let's try that. Let's try the new C deck aft stairs. Get across to it. Should be this way. Oh, that's definitely brighter. This would be our new grand staircase. Shuttle bay in there. Triggered the "you've fallen out of the ship" thing. Hi Ranzer, welcome to the stream. We're currently exploring the blocking out area and around the new sections of D and E deck. Okay, sure, I'll change that. Alright, I approve. It's a good idea. If two people suggest the same thing at once, then it has to be a good idea, surely. To be honest, you can probably make it easier by changing the floor color. Let's make it red. Alright, let's try making it a lot wider. Double it again. We are actually using... oh, can't see it. An IES texture. So I can always take that off. That's true, actually. Yeah, this game may give you a heart attack. Jump, we jump, we jump. Right back up. It's interesting, that shouldn't be going around there like that. Alright, let's clear out that texture then and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, the issue with these is that like these ones don't have the right collisions on them. Ah, thank you. This one is a Japanese lo-fi or Tokyo lo-fi, something like that. Yeah, see these ones here, they've had the proper collisions applied to them, so you can see you can run across them quite easily. I need to do that with the other ones as well. Turn off head bob as well, make it less painful. Okay, torch. I think I need to bring that beam forward a bit. I will increase the range on it too. Right, so let's double the attenuation radius. Brightness is fine, it's just how far it's rendering. Hi Christopher. We're working on the D and E deck blocking in. So essentially just working out the scales of things and making sure the rooms are the right size, making sure the stairs are in a good place and that they work, all that sort of thing. Right now I'm just fixing the torch so it's more usable for exploring. Yeah. Now the game is set in 2261, at least the initial story mode will be. Yes, eventually, once alien vessels have procedural interiors and are all physicalized, then yes, you will be able to board them. And yes, there definitely will be space stations. Yeah, well, the issue with the specular is that because we're no longer using an IES texture, you don't have that kind of bright point of light. So as far as the engine's concerned, you are a light source. That's essentially why we use the IES textures, is to give it that directional light feel. But that just creates that hot spot of light, which reduces visibility. Though, I would say that distant lighting does seem to suffer a bit without it. Yeah, eventually, we will have all kinds of procedural scenarios. Distress calls will just be one of many. Which one was I using? Starburst? No. I actually had a collection of IES textures that I downloaded. I really need to clean up this folder structure. It wasn't there. Yeah, oh yeah. Why don't we try LED beam 3? Oh, it would help if I used the right thing, wouldn't it? Yeah, changing the temperature is only just going to make it a slightly warmer light. Won't really help with the visibility much. You'll be able to make any food that we implement recipes for. Wow, that's definitely bright. Okay, well, I'd say that made a difference. This is crazy, but you could probably see it from Earth. You got people in South America going, "Ah, my eyes!" Okay, you can get a better feel for the size of the park here. In all honesty, it's still not as big as I wanted the park to be. I wanted it to be a really, really huge space. But yeah, anything bigger than this just isn't really practical with the size of the ship. We'd actually have to make the ship like this much bigger again just to fit the park in. Winding. Yeah, I think you're right. I think once the park's got trees, a water feature, I want to put like a fountain in the middle with a hollow display listing like backer names on it, which I think would be quite cool. Yes, this is the park area. Yeah, the chairs on the bridge were a temporary thing I just chucked in about 2.5 years ago never intending them to be a permanent feature. So they've been temporary for about 2.5 years now. But yes, they will be getting a proper modelling. And the cross beam on the bridge windows is being removed to give a better field of view. Yeah, it should. It's alright, chairs are something I can just give to a 3D modeler. We'll get a concept artist to do the concept for the chairs, and a 3D modeler to build the chairs. All I need to do is approve the design. Which is kind of how the process will hopefully work for a lot of things. We'll have the concept artist make the designs, I will pick the design, and then a 3D modeler will build the object. Which means the only involvement I need to have is saying yes or no to whatever the design is. And that frees me up to work on things like ship designs and galaxy stuff. Yeah, there'll be a linguistics lab on CDEC, and collecting samples of alien writings using the probes will be how you unlock their language. Although, if it's an advanced species, you'll be able to just transfer language databases and do the translation that way. So it's all going to depend on how advanced the species is that you're trying to contact. And I really want the method of communication to reflect the age of the species. So if they're like pre-industrial but they've got like radio technology, then you'll be able to hail them via radio and literally just have a text communication with no visuals. And in that instance, you'll have to unlock their language in order for the computer to translate for you. And then, you know, as they get more advanced, you can maybe have like a black and white TV communication because they haven't figured out color TVs yet. So yeah, I think it'd be quite cool to have that bit of flavor there. Yep, you know, if there's a desire for a Q&A stream, I'm happy to do another one. I already don't know my way around the ship. Yeah, so this staircase goes all the way up to C deck, including, you know, the big window on top, so you'll be able to look up and look out. I'm not quite sure yet how big this staircase is going to be. We need to sort of build it first and see. Right now it feels a little bit too large. But yeah, that's the idea. Spiral staircase, big window in the top so you can look up and see outside. But you're right that putting a lift up the centre would be a good idea, because there's only 2 other lifts on the ship, and I think practicality wise it would be good to have 2 more on either side of the vessel. So yeah, I think lounge style lift setup with stairs going round it is probably the best option. Yeah, so my initial plan was to put a tree up the middle. So you'd have a round planter in the middle with chairs round it, and then just a big old tree going right up the centre with the stairs wrapping around the tree as you go up. But we can always put planters around the lift and have both. But it needs to be like this particular section with the big spiral staircase needs to be one of those like wow locations, something that just, you know, is visually stunning. And because I like symmetry, you get 2 of them. Well, on that note, I just realised I've been streaming for almost 3.5 hours, so I'm going to go and stretch my legs, and I shall put this out as a dev build in about an hour or so. So anyone that's got dev build access can go and have fun getting lost. Right, that's about it. I don't think I've got any news to share this week, so I shall simply say adieu. Thank you for watching the stream, and I shall see you on Wednesday for the next dev stream. Alright, thanks a lot everyone, and bye for now.